What is proof of work? Proof of work is exactly what it sounds like. It's proof of work being done, or more simply, it's proof of energy exertion. This video that you're watching can serve as a proof of work. It's basically proof that I put in the work to build this video, right? Or look at this drone footage. The fact that this footage exists is proof that I expended energy getting a camera on a drone and flew it around crazily. So proof of work exists in many different ways. In Bitcoin, proof of work is a consensus mechanism, but it's a special type of consensus mechanism because it solved a previously unsolvable problem in computer science known as the Byzantine General's problem. In this video, we're going to go over what is proof of work, we're going to talk about how it helped solve the Byzantine General's problem, and we're going to talk about how Bitcoin makes use of it and why it's so important. So with that being said, let's jump right into it and explain the Byzantine General's problem. Hi everyone, I'm Andrew with Laser Eyes and welcome back to my channel. So the Byzantine General's problem is a problem in computer science that describes how decentralized systems can reach consensus without a centralized authority. I wrote about this in a post on my website that I did late last year. So let me just explain it in simple terms here. So the Byzantine General's problem says, let's imagine that we have a distributed army here, and we want to attack this base. The only way that our attack will succeed is if all of our armies attack at the same time. Some of the things you need to take into account is how can we be sure that each army received the proper message from the general and that it wasn't tampered with in transit? On top of that, how can we be sure that the general knows that each of his armies got the correct message and are ready to attack? This is the core of the Byzantine general's problem here, and Bitcoin claimed to solve it. Let's see how. So we said the Byzantine general's problem is a problem in computer science that describes how decentralized systems can reach consensus without a central authority. And we also mentioned that Bitcoin does this by using what's known as a proof of work. A good proof of work makes it easy to verify that hard work was done. A good example of this would be a bodybuilder or someone with a lot of muscles. Those muscles are proof that hard work was done in the gym, and it's really easy to verify. You just look at the guy, right? See how buff he is. You could prove it that he did all the hard work. If you're enjoying this content, I ask that you please leave a like and subscribe and maybe share with a friend. In Bitcoin, our muscles are the SHA-256 hashing algorithm, which is essentially just a one-way function. You could pass in some amount of data, and what comes out of this hashing function is a repeatable output that is seemingly random. So let's just look at a quick example here. At the bottom is our output, and this whole top is our input. So you can see by changing our output, you can see by changing our input just a little bit, our output is changing drastically, right? So it's pretty much random. It looks random. However, if I go back to nonce 0, you'll see that it starts in 3E49. And if I go back, let's say to like 5,000 or something, it's some other random number. But if I go back down to 0, it's still 3E49. This output is repeatable for the same input. So how Bitcoin and what miners are actually doing here is you have your block data or transactions going in as your input, and your miners are incrementing this nonce here until they find an output that starts with a leading number of zeros that the network difficulty defines. So people like to say that Bitcoin miners are doing a lot of very complex math algorithms, but realistically, they're just guessing and checking, right? So they're just guessing and checking 5, 6, 7, 8, and that's what they're doing. So you're not doing no complex math. I mean, I guess it is pretty complex if you look at the actual cryptography happening in the hashing algorithm itself. But for our purposes, we can just think of this as like a guess and check, pretty much, because that's essentially what's going on. They're guessing a nonce and they're checking the output. So hopefully this makes more sense to you, and you can see how the SHA-256 covers the easy to verify that hard work was done. Because let's say that we know that one of these nonces yields 10 zeros in the front, we could go ahead and we could just type that in, right? I don't know what number it is, so I'm just guessing here. But if you look at the actual Bitcoin network here, if we go to mempool.space, we could analyze the most recent block, and you'll see that the block hash starts with all these zeros, right? How hard do you think it was for us to find a nonce that yields this hash, right? That's astronomically hard. And you can see it happens block after block after block. Every 10 minutes this is happening. This is what we're talking about when we say that the Bitcoin network is the strongest network in the world. No other network can do this. Humanity has never seen computational strength like this before. And the fact that Bitcoin exists is a testament that proof of work is working. So what else do we have aside from proof of work? Well, we have what's known as proof of stake, but I think it should speak volumes that proof of stake did not solve the Byzantine general's problem, and instead this is kind of like a like a little brother, right? They're like, oh, this guy did something, I'm gonna jump on the bandwagon and I'm gonna claim to do the same thing, but in a different way, right? We're gonna save more energy by using proof of stake or whatever. So proof of stake is you're effectively just delegating somebody to to speak the truth, pretty much. So in proof of work, what you're doing is you're saying, hey, I don't take anyone's word for it. I'm going to look at the hash. I'm going to look at the proof of work, and I'm going to verify for myself that this yields the correct hash. Whereas in proof of stake, what you're doing is you're saying, hey, I own this many of this coin. Give me ownership of the network, which is not what Bitcoin or free money is about, right? There should be nobody, regardless of how rich they are, should have control over the public network that is Bitcoin. Ethereum was once a proof of work network, but then it switched to proof of stake in November of 2022. And you can see that it just went straight down against Bitcoin. This is because the world yearns for a free money, and a proof of stake type of currency is not free because proof of stake inherently says that the biggest actors have the most control of the network, right? So Ethereum is pretty much just fiat 2.0. It's U.S. banking rails 2.0, right? It's trash. It's absolute trash. Same thing for XRP, Cardano, everything else, right? That's why everything else just goes down against Bitcoin. Solana, right? And this is very evident in the Bitcoin dominance chart, right? This is going up. I'm of the opinion that Bitcoin dominance is going to 100%. Right, I'm a Bitcoin maxi. I think this is going to 100%. I think there's only room for one, and that is the king. So that is why proof of work matters. That is what proof of work is. I hope this clears things up for you. If you like what I do, please drop a like and subscribe. You could check out my website here. And if you need help getting set up with Bitcoin, I can help you with the ultimate self-custody solution. Just sign up for some time here on my site, and we could talk about how to get that going. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.